this video, we are going to cover the next 3 steps. That is, I am going to configure the stories here and run the stories using TestNG, and we will see a sample report in HTML. So coming to configuring stories, you need to know about interface jBehave. For that you need to go to reference guides, core, stable, project, Java doc. Okay, go for jBehave core. Okay, jBehave core. Okay, so in this package you can see embeddable interface, right? So this is the main interface, the heart of jBehave, which will run your stories. Okay, so there are two classes which implement this interface. They are configurable embedder and injectable embedder. Using configurable embedder, we are going to implement embeddable. Okay, in that we are going to set up our configuration and injectable steps factory. Okay, let's go back to our code. So in order to compile our stories, I am creating a new class called StoryRunner, which extends configurable embedder. Okay, so take a variable of type embedder. Okay, and configurable embedder is an abstract class which contains run method, so we have to implement run method. Okay, so before implementing run method, we need configuration and injectable steps. For configuration, we just take a new most useful configuration class, okay, which will have a basic configuration set in it. Okay, injectable steps factory is used for compiler to identify where we can find story mapping files. Okay, so instant step factory, I'm taking configuration and I'm just giving my class file where my Java steps are available, where my Java mapping steps are available. Okay, once this configuration and injectable step factories is set up, now go to run embedder, call configured embedder method. Okay, so a configurable embedder object will be created in embedder variable. Now using embedder variable, call configure method. Okay, and till here the configuration is completed. Okay, so I have to, my embedder is ready now to run the stories. Okay, so I have to provide which stories I have to run. Okay, so I'm just taking one of my story file which I have created. Okay, and I'm calling it from embedder run stories as path. I have to provide a list. Okay. Here our data type is string, but run stories as path expects a collection, so I'm using collections.singleton list and passing the story path. Okay, so once all this configuration is set up, okay, while execution, if you are getting any of class not found exceptions, it means some of the jar files are missing which support compiling the project. Okay, so in that case, just go to project, right click, okay, build paths, configure build path. Okay, under class path, check all the compile dependent jar files are added to your build path or not. Okay, you need to have all these jar files. You can get the files downloaded from Maven repository. Fine, so I have my Java class ready for compilation. Okay, but I want to execute this Java file. Okay, in order to do that, just say, in order to execute this using TestNG, what is the concept of TestNG? You have to just put annotation @test in order to identify that this is a TestNG annotation, and have your import statement. Okay, so now this is a TestNG test method. Okay, now I can call this using a TestNG suite file, that is TestNG XML file. Okay, so I created test.xml file. There I'm calling my class package name dot class name. Okay, so if you want more details on TestNG, you can just go to TestNG series and look at complete details. Okay, so here using my suite, I'm just calling my class. Okay, now when I execute this as a TestNG suite, my run method will start executing. So see, I have executed and I can see all my steps got executed. Okay, currently my reports are not getting generated. Okay, let's see how to add reports for this. Okay, in order to add reports, I have to add my report builder to in my configuration. For most useful configuration, you just add dot use story report builder. Okay, create a new class of story report builder. Fine, and then you can just give in which format you want the reports. By default it will be stats format, so I have been asking, I have requested for console and HTML formats. Okay, so now let's execute this. Now you have to see your reports. So let's see here, generating reports view at this point. Okay, formats stats console and HTML. So I'm just going to open this here, my first story. Just open the HTML. This is how report got generated. Okay, let's see a failure scenario quickly. Okay, in order to show you a failure scenario, I am just failing one of my step. Okay, for that I'm just taking assert equals. Okay, I'm just saying true equal to false. That just import TestNG assert. Okay, this step is certainly a failure. Okay, again let me execute this. Here you can observe there is one failure. Let's see in detail. Failed run method reports. See here, two scenarios are there, out of which one got failed. Okay, let's open our report now. You can see here the last step, I've intentionally failed this step just to see how it will be reported here. Okay, so now you can see this one. Now you can see that this step got failed. Okay, so this covers the introduction of configuring the stories, running the stories, and then viewing the reports. Okay, so with this we have created a sample story file and then mapped the steps, configured the story files, we ran it using TestNG, and we have viewed our reports also. In coming videos, let's see some other features like parameterization, how to parameterize the stories, okay, how to parameterize steps in the stories, how to use alias. Okay, all these things we will see in coming videos. Okay, but this is a basic overview which will be helpful for you to run your first story file. Thank you.